The timeline begins on January 22, 2026. Inside a California courtroom, the fate of one of the most expensive pieces of real estate in Hidden Hills hangs in the balance. Nicki Minaj's $20 million mansion, a massive 12,000 square foot estate she purchased in late 2022, was officially on the chopping block. For months, the court had been moving toward a forced sale of dwelling. This is a rare and extreme legal maneuver used when a debtor refuses to satisfy a judgment. The tension of this moment cannot be overstated. The judge was only waiting on a single document from Bank of America, the final mortgage statement, before signing the order that would have put the house on the public market. Just hours before the gavel fell, the money appeared. Nicki Minaj paid $503,000 in full. This wasn't just a late payment, it was the end of a multi-year game of legal chicken that nearly cost the Queen of Rap her home. To understand why Nicki Minaj almost lost her house over $500,000, we have to go back to March 2019. Nicki was in the middle of her European tour, performing at the Festhalle in Frankfurt, Germany. Behind the scenes, the atmosphere was reportedly volatile. According to court documents, an altercation broke out between Nicki and a female security staffer. Thomas Weidenmuller, a seasoned security professional with decades of experience, stepped in to mediate. What happened next changed his life forever. Weidenmuller alleged that Kenneth Petty, Nicki's husband, confronted him and delivered a devastating blow to his face. The impact was so severe that Weidenmuller's jaw was shattered. He underwent multiple reconstructive surgeries, ultimately requiring the permanent installation of 5 metal plates and 8 screws to hold his face together. He claimed he suffered from chronic pain, nerve damage, and severe emotional distress that prevented him from returning to high-level security work. In 2022, Weidenmuller filed a formal lawsuit in the United States seeking $721,000 in damages. This is where the legal strategy becomes baffling. Despite the severity of the allegations, Nicki Minaj and Kenneth Petty reportedly paid the lawsuit dust. Under U.S. law, if you are served with a lawsuit and fail to respond within a specific time frame, the plaintiff can ask for a default judgment. It is essentially a win by forfeit. In March 2024, the judge did exactly that. Because the defense provided no rebuttal, the court accepted the plaintiff's account of the damages and awarded Weidenmuller $503,000. However, winning a judgment and collecting the money are two very different things. For nearly 2 years, the judgment sat unpaid. Nicki Minaj publicly projected an image of immense wealth, highlighted by her record-breaking Pink Friday 2 tour, which grossed over $108 million, yet this $500,000 debt remained a ghost in her ledger. By late 2025, Weidenmuller's legal team, led by attorney Tyrone Blackburn, decided to escalate. They filed a motion to levy Nicki's primary residence. In the state of California, your home is protected to an extent, but if a judgment is large enough and the debtor refuses to pay, a judge can order the home to be sold. The proceeds would first pay off the mortgage, then the judgment, and whatever is left would go back to the owner. The irony of the situation was glaring. The house, originally bought for $13 million, had appreciated to an estimated $20 million. Losing such a massive asset over a debt that represented only 2.5% of the home's value seemed unthinkable. During this period, rumors began to swirl that Nicki was going broke. Critics pointed to the fact that she was ignoring a court order as a sign of financial instability, while supporters argued she was simply being stubborn or was poorly advised by her legal team. A significant portion of this saga centers on the liability created by Kenneth Petty. This isn't the first time his actions have resulted in massive financial and legal burdens for Nicki. From his high-profile registration issues as a sex offender to various backstage altercations, Petty's presence has been a constant source of litigation. In the Frankfurt case, the court noted that while Petty was the alleged aggressor, Nicki was held liable as the employer and for her alleged role in the lead-up to the confrontation. This raises a recurring theme in Nicki's personal life, the ride-or-die mentality that often puts her own brand and assets at risk. This $500,000 payment was effectively a husband tax, a massive payout to clean up a mess she didn't physically start, but was legally responsible for. The security guard's lawyer described the final settlement as reaching the 1-yard line. It highlights a growing trend in celebrity litigation. Celebrities often feel they are too big to sue until the sheriff shows up to put a lock on their door. Thomas Weidenmuller finally received his compensation 7 years after the night in Frankfurt.
Can you tell us what happened in court in there?
So today we informed the court that Nicki Minaj has satisfied the judgment, and so therefore there was no need to proceed further with our motion for an order authorizing the sale of her house in order to satisfy that judgment.
What does your client think of this? How's he reaffirming?
He's incredibly gratified and happy. It's been a long time coming to have justice finally done here. But he's very happy for himself. He suffered a very heinous attack years ago. And not only did it take years to achieve the judgment, but then took nearly 2 years in order to enforce that judgment. And we never thought it would have to go quite this far in order to actually go and put a levy on a multi-millionaire's house and go to the last 24 hours before she decides to satisfy the judgment.
Have you talked to Nicki Minaj? Do you think she feels remorseful about what happened?
I can't speak for her. I have not spoken to her directly, and I've only spoken to her counsel.
Nicki Minaj will not be getting evicted. She recently agreed to pay $500,000 to the security guard who accused her husband Kenneth Petty of assaulting him. $20 million California mansion was at risk of being put up for sale due to her ignoring lawsuit. The guy who was a former security guard for Nicki claims that her husband Kenneth Petty allegedly assaulted him, and when he went to pursue legal action against Nicki and Kenny, they allegedly ignored the lawsuit. That led to Thomas requesting a judge asking to put Nicki's home up for sale after she continuously ignored court proceedings, and is looking like they were just about to put it up for sale before Nicki agreed to pay this man the $500,000. Personally, I don't know why she was refusing to pay this man or ignoring the case, because we all know she got way more than $500,000 in the bank. According to reports, during the wee hours of the morning, Nicki Minaj slid her payment through to avoid her house going on the market and settling this balance. The fact that she is doing this from this incident that allegedly happened in 2019 is crazy. And I'm just glad this entire situation is over so we can stop talking about it. We all knew this girl was not about to lose her house. I'm curious to know what y'all think regarding this. Let me know down in the comments, y'all. Peace.